Hello, fabulous superstar Virgo. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of November 2025. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. Synchronicity University is proud to present some absolutely incredible programs starting this month over at synchronicityuniversity.com with me looking at past lives in the astrology chart part 3. Mark Lawrenson, super popular superstar astrologer, teaching on the astrology of intimacy, and these incredible speakers only at synchronicityuniversity.com. Links below. It will be on the 5th of the month that we will have this month's full moon. This full moon takes place in a worldly part of your sky, having to do with long distance travel, immigration, citizenship, higher learning, legal matters, as well as your own beliefs about the world around you, political, philosophical, or religious as well. The institutions of law and religion are what we find here. And when we have important activity in this part of the sky, there might be more engagement with these particular institutions. Now, what I really like about this full moon is that it is speaking in harmony with Saturn and with Jupiter, setting up some really beautiful energy. And this very beautiful energy is one of support, but also possibility. Saturn brings with it a stabilizing sense that things can change in a way that lasts. And Jupiter brings with it the hope to even take a chance to begin with. Jupiter is also considered the bestower of blessings, but the kind of connection that this full moon is making to Jupiter is more about us cultivating those blessings through our own choices and actions. Now, full moons bring completion and culmination, particularly if you've been involved in any of these matters going back 6 months when we had a new moon in this part of the sky. Well, this is where you feel that whatever it was that began then is able to come to some kind of a conclusion. Whatever does transpire, it is a part of helping you to understand that much more deeply where you stand in relation to the world around you. At the very least, I think this is where a spirit of adventure itself, an antsiness, if you will, a desire to get out into the world in some way, will feel very much on the surface. Now, on the 7th of the month, Uranus moves into this same part of the sky, this worldly part of your sky. And Uranus has been mostly in this part of the sky since 2018. Now, here we are. We're wrapping up loose ends, and it will be in April that Uranus will move on, not to return to this area of life for about 8 decades to come. And Uranus has been, since July, moving through the top of your sky, having to do with career and life purpose. As Uranus retrogrades out, it returns you to a sense of the things you may need to put into place that you believe are going to help you to manifest bigger and better in the fullness of time. It is a part of the sky that is visionary and also preparatory. So it has to do with the preparation for the larger successes that you desire to have. And it is a place in the chart that has to do with experience as well. Uranus is all about new experiences that change your worldview, in some cases in an instant. Now, how far have you come in your understanding of your place in the world, your engagement on a level of the world stage? And that could be, again, political. It could be related to higher education. It could be related to philosophy or religion. In fact, with Uranus, in some cases, it might feel like there's a conversion of sorts, where in an instant you see the world very differently, and it sticks. It shifts something within you. Now, if there is further nuances, a further sense of this understanding of how quickly things can change based on how you see the world around you, well, it is Uranus now that's going to help you to close those loops as part of preparing for this larger cycle to come to an end for now, and as part of gearing up for a much longer cycle ahead once Uranus more comfortably moves into the top of your sky, or rather back into the top of your sky in the spring. That in and of itself represents a larger 7-year journey of its own. On the 9th of the month, Mercury goes retro. Here we are. And Mercury starts off being retrograde at the foundation of the chart, having to do with home and the past and your living situation, your family of origin, and your parents, where that applies. And this goes from the 9th to the 19th. On the 19th, a retrograde Mercury will move back into a part of the sky that has to do with mind, communication, and your siblings, cousins, and neighbors are covered here as well. And as we go forward, it is going to be the following day, as soon as Mercury retrogrades back into that mind-oriented part of the sky, that we get a new moon here, hand in hand with that Mercury retrograde. On the 29th, Mercury goes direct. Whatever might be happening through pretty much this entire month, you just might see it very differently once we get to the very end of the month and as we step into next month as well. For all that though, consider that a big portion of the energy of this Mercury retrograde is supported by that new moon, which is all about mind, how you're thinking about a thing, how you're communicating a thing, how you go about expressing yourself, how you feel about it. The work, the insight, the understanding into your ability to express yourself and communicate in a way that you desire to might come into focus in some way. But I think for most Virgos, this is going to be about your siblings, cousins, and neighbors, either wanting to spend more time with them, or it feels like the call is there to be present with them in some way. And so the new moon in particular, let me touch on that, because that new moon is going to be speaking in a larger configuration that astrologers call a grand trine. It is a supremely harmonious energy with Neptune, Saturn, and Jupiter as well. And so this is all water. This is the feels, if there ever was, but it's ultimately feeling things in a way that does anchor these key relationships I just mentioned with those siblings, cousins, and neighbors in your life. It brings that sense of support. The fact that the new moon brings with it a fresh start and a fresh beginning could mean that you get a chance to get more clear about where you stand with one of these people, if not more, or it is a new chapter that's on the horizon, whether it's in their lives or in your connection to them, but it ends up being meaningful to you in some way, directly or indirectly at that. Taking a step back though, part of this Mercury retrograde is in a part of the sky that has to do with home, the past, your living situation, your family of origin, and your parents in particular, where that applies. And so there can be a lot of family reunions taking place over the course of that particular chapter of the retrograde. I would even say during the station at the start of the month, so right to the 19th of the month. And this furthers the fact that because there's a connection here between the past, between your childhood and the people who were there, and the siblings, cousins, neighbors in your life with this larger Mercury retrograde transit, well, that does suggest that there's an easy way in which you're able to find a bridge. And the people who are showing up right about now, you might very likely have a long history with. Mercury retrograde brings with it surprise reunions very often. And I think that is a signature of this time. The surprise is going to be especially strong around the new moon on the 20th. And that is because in addition to that beautiful grand trine energy, we're going to have that new moon across the sky from Uranus. So yeah, there's going to be a surprise a minute, if not a shock a minute kind of energy here. Very quickly having to scramble based on new information. And yet it just might represent a sense of breakthrough, a sense of promise that these relationships can evolve in some way, grow closer and more meaningful. On the 11th of the month, Jupiter goes retrograde right to March of next year. And Jupiter continues to move through a friendship part of your sky, having to do with whether it is social situations, social gatherings, connecting with friends, feeling closer to them, more bonded to them. It has to do with feeling the support of larger communities. And in some cases, this might also speak to social media or mass media as well. Higher, bigger, more lofty aims and bigger opportunities than you've known before might become available to you as a result of who you know. Where it is that reunions may need to happen to fortify that sense of possibility and forward momentum, that's part of what we see here. But it's also one of these energies that brings healing to past and present relationships of all of these kinds. Wherever Jupiter goes, cultivating an awareness of that area of life brings with it greater luck. And so, whether it is wanting to connect with more people, whether it is posting on social media more, getting out into the world, connecting with people socially that much more readily, these activities can be well rewarded in all kinds of ways beyond just what happens in a given moment. The moment itself might be healing. It might at first seem like not a big deal, but it is through people now that bigger, better, more, and happiness open up to you that much more readily. Where it comes to matters of love, consider that on the 6th of the month, Venus will move into that mind-oriented part of the sky. Heart and mind become intimately tied for you right until the very end of the month. And we've got that new moon as well, which isn't far away from Venus in the sky, which is also in that mind-oriented part of the sky. But what's intriguing about the new moon in the context of love is that it is part of that grand trine I spoke of. Saturn and Neptune are in your opposite sign, and that has to do with partnerships, including romantic partnerships at that. And so there's a part of you that might be feeling hopeful, wants to heal any relationship issues, but is also in some ways playing the long game in terms of what you desire to move towards in the context of love. For those of you open to meeting someone new, whether you're connecting with people online or in person, it starts with words, with intellectual connection if it's going to reach the heart. Consider, though, that part of the Mercury retrograde season is with Mercury in this same part of the sky, particularly after the 19th of the month. And what that means is you may want to be especially diligent and consider that what you think it is, who you think it might not be that. And so pace yourself as you navigate this time, knowing that there's more to learn about this person and about each other. And where possible, listen to them, knowing that you might hear something very different once it is that Mercury goes direct towards the end of the month. For those of you just starting to date someone, hearing what you want, perceiving what you want, it becomes very possible with Mercury retrograde. That can be rather beautiful, but at the same time, it's not necessarily rooted in what is actually taking place. And this is something that we all do. It's almost like we need to have those moments where hope colors our vision to even take a chance, to take the risk that getting to know another person sometimes requires. There is a need with this energy over the course of the month to also be more spontaneous as part of continuing to learn about each other. For all that, though, it is going to be in the last days of the month that in an instant, I feel as if there's going to be a moment when it feels as if, wow, I finally hear what you've been saying to me all along. And it's a game changer. And it might just be a very all or nothing moment. And for those of you in an established bond, there tends to be an overall energy this month of more spontaneity, of more interaction, talking things through that maybe represent conversations that have been put off for way too long. All of that can feel like it stirs for you now in some way. And yet, for all of that, just be mindful if you are making plans or talking about things, brainstorming things, considering what it is that has yet to come together, practically, personally, or otherwise. That sense of hearing what we want, that sense of not accurately evaluating what's being said, what's being read as well, means that it's a good idea not to make any life-changing decisions just yet. Wait until Mercury goes direct, and that's when choices that you might be making, whether it's together or whether for you it's about the relationship itself, well, those choices just might look very different once it is that Mercury goes direct. What I love about this month for you, there's so much here. It's a powerful and meaningful astrological moment. I'm going to say I love the energy of, well, I'm going to say Jupiter going retro in a friendship part of your sky. At the very least, this is going to magnify social connections with others. I love that Jupiterian energy because it means that more is available to you as a result of whom it is that you know or who you connect with as well. And more could be more happiness, more wisdom, more joy, but practical opportunity as well. If ever there was a time to connect with others and know that there's friendship all around you, this really would be it. And that friendship can pay off in all kinds of ways, the least of which being how it is that it expands your heart and expands your horizons. Thank you so much for watching. You can get a video like this each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month with Choose Your Membership rate over at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com, where you get expansive, exclusive video scopes each week for each sign for as low as just $3 a month. Now, higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com, links below. A limited number of consultations are available with me between now and the end of the year, online on my website, NadiyaShah.com, and in person this month in Montreal, Canada. You can learn more and sign up for yours now, link below. Thank you again for watching. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.